Hey, welcome back. This is podcast 483. You're in the right spot. This is your reality check. This is the No Comfort Zone. Today, we're going to be talking about something very near, very dear to my heart. I've talked about it for the past 30 years. When I apply the principles of what I'm going to talk about next, good things in my life happen. And when I don't get pretty much any satisfaction whatsoever. So we're going to go in depth on this podcast. It's all about you and it's all about your goals.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
So a couple of podcasts ago, I started talking about labels and identity. Check that out. I think that's number 481. If you want to check that out, it's called Labels and Identity. Check that out. It's so important that you don't get beaten down by the labels that other people put on you that don't even really know you. But if you're honest with yourself and if you look in the mirror and you become aware of who you really are, man, that's the first start. And when you get your mindset right on who you really are as a person and you start to identify what exactly it is in this life that you want, and then you decide you're going to go for it, and make that decision that, yeah, I'm going to go for this. This is the direction I'm going to go. This is the person I want to become so I can achieve those things. The best part about this is the next thing you have that falls right into place is you have to take that massive action. But where do you start? And that's what today's podcast is all about. I want to tell you this. This podcast is all about for those men who have recovered and now prospered. And I will tell you this, the failures and adversities that I've experienced in my life have catapulted me to the point where I am now. And what I mean by that is I was in a point of apathy. I was I was less than. And I felt that way everywhere I went. I felt like I was the outside looking in. I felt like I wasn't accepted, even in my marriages. And I tell you what, I felt like I didn't belong anywhere with anybody or with anything. But I had this facade that I fit in everywhere, and I acted as if it didn't bother me. The truth of the matter is it did. Then I realized once I got a strong sense of who I was by dealing with this adversity, dealing with these failures in my life and realizing, okay, why did I make that decision? That's in the first part of the blueprint that we talk about. So why did I make these decisions? And when you can identify why you make certain decisions and what feelings and emotions you had before you made that critical decision, good or bad, you're going the right direction. You're becoming aware. A good practice that you can do is start journaling past events. Why did I decide to get into a relationship with this person? It's funny when you break it down from a non-emotional level and you just realize why you did what you did, you may or you may have not made that decision again. It's all logical, and they say hindsight's 20/20. I'm here to tell you as your podcast host that doing this is a huge benefit. And if you can take the time to sit down and journal and realize critical moments in your life, those big significant moments, why you did what you did, when you did, and what was the reason, and you dissect that area of your life, if you do this over 20 years, you're going to start to see a pattern. And I did it after all my adversity and looked back on my life and I said, why did this happen? How did I go from this to this? How did I go from this guy who pretty much had everything going for him? How did I go from this point to coma? How did I go to this point to coma bankruptcy? How did I go to this point to jobless, homeless, all these things, drug addicted, everything? How did I get from here to there? I wanted to really know. And when I started to realize why I did what I did, it was amazing to me. It was amazing when I got the foundation and realized that the reason I make the choices I do is from a lack of self-esteem. It's a lack of confidence. It's a lack of understanding. Now that I have that understanding today, this next part, all about goal setting, falls right into place. And it's a huge part of my blueprint because when I made that decision, that I wanted to lose the 30 pounds, that I wanted to take my organization completely and entirely to the next level and bring a few people along. And when I realized that I wasn't going to settle for anything less than this, that's when my life began to happen. That's when the purpose began to happen. And you might be listening to this right now, wherever you're at in the world. You might be listening to this and saying, you know what? Yeah, I can kind of relate. If you can kind of relate, I want to ask you a question. Are you where you want to be? Do you even know where you're at? It's a scary question because when you walk into that environment, your home, and you ask yourself, how did I get here? What's going on around me? When you start to ask these type of questions, your brain's only going to do the thing it knows how to do. It's going to start to answer these questions. And when you start to understand that you're not perfect, when you start to understand that, you know what, maybe you are a little too hard on yourself, when you start to understand that those labels that other people put on you, they don't matter, you're going the right direction. Which brings us to the next part of the blueprint. It's all about your goals. The person that you now discovered who you really are, you're going to have certain wants and certain needs. You're going to have certain ambitions. You're going to have certain passions, and you're going to have certain purpose in your life. You're going to have some drive on where it is you want to go. And if you don't know, it's simple. Do this. Go to the nocomfortzone.com and do me a favor. Get on the calendar. Let's have a conversation. Let's try to find your purpose. It's so funny to me. If you take money, you take relationships, you take your health and everything else just out of the equation, and you ask yourself, what are you put on this planet for? And we go and we drill down, and once we know who you are, we put some goals in place and we figure out what it is you need in order to achieve that. Most people will realize that, you know what, I could be living in my passion and getting paid to do it. I could be living on purpose and getting paid to do it. And it's so scary. It's so sad that most people don't know that that can actually happen. You don't have to go through a ton of adversity to get there. You just have to have some good self-awareness of who you are. You have to have a really good mindset, and I help people with that. And more importantly, I help you then set your goals. And you have to ask yourself a question, and it's really simple. I got this a long time ago from Tony Robbins. And I say a long time ago from Tony Robbins. I met him twice, ran with him once for about, I would say about maybe 10 seconds. When I was in Hawaii, I saw him across the street when he was at one of the hotels where I used to live. And I ran across the street to say hi. And it's funny, about 2 months prior, I saw him in Washington, D.C. And the irony was I set a goal to myself that roughly, it was 3 months. 3 months later, I'd be living in Hawaii. And there I was living in Hawaii, exercising, running in the morning. And sure enough, there he is doing a seminar, and he comes out of his hotel, and I decided to run across the street and run with him. But neither here nor there. I listened to The Personal Power. I read Awaken the Giant and The Power Within. I read those books. I was probably 21 at the time, and they had a significant impact on me. So I followed Tony for a long time, and then I saw something on YouTube. It wasn't that long ago. It probably had to be around 2009. I saw something, it could have been sooner, but I saw something that he had talked about, and it was called OPA, O-P-A. And what I found out was interesting. I bought the course, by the way. I can't even remember what it was, but I did buy the course, and it was about chunking and time management, and taking things that you can chunk together to save a lot of time. Now, I took the sales course from Tony Robbins. I invested a lot of money with Tony Robbins, and by far, there's people that go to him for coaching. There are people that go to his people for coaching. And I'll tell you what, he's not everyone's flavor. I like him. I enjoy what he does. He's helped me out immensely. I've taken bits from him, he's taken bits from someone else. I've taken some sales opportunities, information from other people, and I made it my own. I put it into my own blueprint. And part of that is what he came up with was OPA, which is know your outcome. If you want to save time and you want to achieve your goals and you want to do it the most efficient way, you really have to identify what your outcome is. So when I tell you that you need to write down the night before you go to bed, when you're in that 15 minutes trying to get yourself ready to go to bed, trying to get that sleep mode in, grab a pen, grab a paper. I just bought a digital tablet, remarkable too. I am not an affiliate for this, but oh my God, do I love it. I write down in my thing the top 6 things that I want to accomplish the next day and the 3 things that might be holding me back or might be getting in my way. I write down what my goals are, and then I wake up in the morning and I do it all over again. I get myself ready for the day, and I just keep moving forward with those intentions in place. And when you focus on it long enough, you're going to start to achieve those goals. So know your outcome. And then you have to ask, why are you doing this? Everyone's asked that before. Why? What's your why? What's your why? Okay, what's your why? Why are you doing this? I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this because what's your purpose? What's your purpose? And if you don't know what your purpose is, ask a better question. What's your passion? What gets you excited? And why? And keep asking why. It gets me excited because I can impact many people. It gets me excited because I can impact many people in a positive way. It excites me because I can impact tons of people. I can actually help a lot of people in a positive way. And I can actually assist them in making the lives around them better by teaching them what I'm teaching them that I learned the hard way. I took the hard road. I figured something out, and now I'm offering it to everybody saying, hey, I found a pretty systematic method that can help people solve their problems and achieve their goals. And it works well. It works well for a lot of people, and I've done it for organizations, and I've learned it from somebody, and now I'm teaching it to you. So you're learning this on this podcast. What's your outcome? What's your purpose or your passion? And then what activities do you need to take immediately? Listen, I'm part of a group on Facebook. It's called Nanotest. I think it's called CBX now. It's a fitness group, and it's a group of men in their 50s, and it's a private group. And I went there because I wanted to connect with like-minded people who are interested in a fitness journey. I started a huddle within the group that's appropriate for the group, and it's called the Second Chance Huddle. Now, the Second Chance Huddle is all about a second chance. Guys that started the program fell off and have jumped back on. I had great success in the program, and then knee injury, if you listen to this podcast, and other things happen. And next thing you know, I'm in a position where I came back again. I came back and I'm doing it better than ever, and I don't have any injuries, and COVID's over with. So I'm back at it in full swing. Second chance is a big deal for a lot of people. But when I joined it, what I did is the first thing is I woke up extra early and got myself prepared for the day. I took immediate action. I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew what my outcome was supposed to be. I wanted to lose a whole bunch of weight, and I didn't put a thing about weight. I just wanted to get healthier. Sure enough, over 6 weeks, I think I lost 27 pounds. If you become a member of that group, say that Dan Brzezowski sent you. It's no big deal, but just how'd you hear about us, Dan Brzezowski, on the podcast? They'll let you in. You're going to ask to do a quick intro video, talk about yourself and what your goals are and why you're there. Then you're going to get a ton of support. 10,500 members are going to cheer you on, and they're going to get you to go from point A to point B. You just got to follow the 5 principles that he offers: mindset, meals, movement, supplementation, and community. And then the next thing you want to do is follow the 6-week plan: week 1, week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just do that, and you're going to be off great if you want to lose a bunch of weight, and if you want to feel better, and if you want to get connected to a community. That's CBX. That's Charlie Bravo X-ray, if you're interested. But you got to take massive action. You got to jump in right away. You can't put your toe in the water. You have to jump in head first with both feet, regardless of if it's whatever. You just have to do it. Take the massive action. And if you're wondering what you need to do, just what's important right now. Listen, if you want to lose weight, for example, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to put the fork down. Stop eating all the crap. Drink more water. And more importantly, if you want to be really healthy, exercise for an hour every single day. That's directly out of the book, Younger Next Year, by Crowley is the last name. I forgot his first name. But check it out. It's a great book, and that's what I'm into these days. But let's talk about something else. Let's talk about, for example, recently with where I'm at in my organization, there is a bunch of daily activities that we work on through a daily written action plan, KPIs, key performance indicators, that we focus on daily. Now, we set a goal as an organization based on our intentions. Here's the intentions. For example, let's just say I'm going to use a number. Money's easy to talk about, especially when it comes to goals and mindset and stuff like that. It seems to motivate people. That might not be your why. The money might be nice, but the dream house might be even better. Or the money, the dream house, and the freedom to do what you want. And whatever. But what I'm saying is that having a goal, it's easy to describe, especially in this podcast, from a money mindset point of view. Let's say that you're going after a target. And that target is you, let's say you, the listener, want to earn a sum of money, and you're going to have to do it with using your resources. So, for example, let's say, that you want to earn $100,000 in a month. You set a goal that you want to earn $100,000 in a month, and with that goal of $100,000 per month, there's certain KPIs, key performance indicators, that you're going to have to do. There's certain tasks, there's certain activities that you're going to have to do. And we do this in our organization. We have our daily written action plan. We have our KPIs that we look at. I'm sure every business does this. And we have a meeting around it, and then we move forward and we push forward throughout the day. And then we look at our processes or our methods of what we do, and we make sure that they meet our standards. And when they meet our standards, then we end up, hitting our goal. And here's the interesting part. For a long time, I was told that these goals are a little unrealistic. They're a little hard to get to. With great frustration, because the whole point of this podcast comes down to this point. Imagine that $100,000 goal as an example, and you have this big ring. You're in the center and you put a big ring around you, and that ring around you indicates the $300,000. Now that you have $300,000 around you, or excuse me, I'm sorry, $100,000 around you. Now that you have that goal there and you're in the middle, you're going to have to use your resources in order for you to get to that goal, to reach the border of that goal. Just imagine a dot and then draw a big circle, and there's your $100,000. Now, what are the things that you need to do? And you're going to draw an arrow out towards the ring. For example, what are you going to have to do? In my case, I'm going to have to get up early. That's an arrow over there. Another case is going to be, I'm going to have to make sure that I have the right people in the right place to support me and my resources. So I'll resources people, and I'll draw an arrow at a different part of the circle outbound from the dot to the outside of it. Then I'll write, let's say, for example, product, inventory, however you want to look at it. I'll look at skill sets and training. I'll look at opportunities. I'll look at technology, and I'll have all these things out there that form this $100,000 month. Let's just say, make it $1 million, make it 300,000, whatever you want. Here's the problem though. When you know what your outcome is, 300,000, and you know what your purpose is, the person in the center, the reason why you want to do what you do, and you have to know what your purpose is, what your passion is, to help as many as people as possible through your products or services that you offer. And the end result is you're going to make that dollar amount, 100,000. Well, then what activities do you need to do? And there's your activities you're surrounded by, your resources, your activities, and everything else. Where the problem lies is that people will shortchange themselves. Let's say, for example, a big one for me is technology. I have a hard time with connecting wires and connecting software, getting things to talk to each other. I have a hard time with it. That's an Achilles heel for me, but it's an excuse if I let it be an excuse. Now, let's just say that I am going for that $100,000 goal per month, and I have all my resources around me, but I wake up late. And I do that on a regular basis. I don't have the habit yet of getting up super early. I get up super early now, and that's a huge success that I have. That 4:55 a.m. is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And we can talk more about that in another podcast. But I'm here to tell you that when you cut yourself short and you lose time in the morning, and then you have a problem with technology, you start to take those errors and you start to draw them in a little bit. And now that $100,000 ring starts to, and you settle for 90, 80, 50, 60, 50, 40, 30. And next thing you know, you're back to your, okay, I made 30 grand or I made 10, whatever it is. Or worse yet, you didn't make anything because you spent too much time planning in the process and trying to be perfect. And you just didn't start. You just didn't get going, because the best time to start is right now. Whatever it is, what's important now? Take action now. And if you didn't take action 90 days ago, that's okay. Take action now. Move forward. Where would you be 90 days from now if you followed a process? If you had somebody holding you accountable for where it is that you want to go. So now you know who you are, you know where you want to go, and you know the reasons why. And I'm shoving you along the way, pulling you along the way to get you to point A from point A. Because this podcast really is all about men who recovered and prospered. When you fail and fail and fail and fail and fail and stop for a minute and realize, okay, what are my successes? What are my failures and why? Okay, what was it put on this planet for? What am I really here for? Take feelings, emotions, money, and everything out of the equation. What am I really here for? Then you're going to find out exactly what you're here for. Then you can make an impact. Then you can know who you are. Then you can start to set goals. I hope this helped today, because it's really important that you understand, the listener, that there are so many opportunities in front of you. If you just decide that you're willing to know who you are, and then you put some goals based on what's important to you. Not what other people think with labels and stuff, but what's really important to you. Let's say that you're a sales guy and you want to crush it this month in sales. I'm a familiar background. It's 30 years of my experience. Let's say that you do want to be a public speaker and you want your speeches to get better. What are you willing to do to practice on those things so that you can get there? You're going to have to know your purpose. And if you don't know your purpose, let's step back. You have to know who you are. If that makes any sense, boy, we are connecting. Do me a favor if you could. Send this podcast to as many people as you can that might need a little bit of help, who are recovered and have prospered, or in recovery and need to prosper, or somebody just might be a little down and out and needs a little pick me up. Send it out their way. I would love this for an opportunity to meet you either on social media, At the end of the podcast, it'll tell you what my Twitter handle is, what my Instagram handle is, my email, dan@thenocomfortzone.com. And better yet, go to thenocomfortzone.com and get on my calendar so that we can schedule some time and we can have a conversation about where you're at, where you want to go, and how we're going to get there. More importantly, let's do this. Let's close on this moment right now. Whatever you have going on in your life, your health, your wealth, your relationship, your just everyday, day-to-day stuff. You want to go from point A to point B. Nothing is going to change or get better until you get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at NoComfortZone1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.